couple more questions, Alden. You see anything out there? We're going to answer these ones live and dive on in here.
Yeah, we got a few here that we set aside. Quick one from David Mackay, because I know the answer for us. Were you watching Wheel of Time? Thoughts on it not continuing? Yeah, that got announced today that they are canceling that show at Prime. We have not seen it. A friend of the show and Casterly Talk contributor Rachel Cushing, I know, was a fan of it and had read all those books. I don't have a take because I didn't watch it and I haven't read the books. That does suck. I know it's caused some concern of like, oh, what does this mean for Rings of Power? I actually, and this is like, I don't mean to be like callous about some people losing their show or their jobs, but I think it's actually a good sign for Rings of Power because when you couple it with the news that Rings of Power is going into syndication, a phrase that we have not heard in years, it feels like. Rings of Power is going into syndication. They're thinning out this other expensive thing. And Ring season 3 is about to shoot. Like, I think that this is probably in the name of we're spending a lot, but we're committed to these 5 seasons on Rings because Jeff likes Tolkien. We are gonna finish them.
Whether or not he's involved day to day, that's at the end of the day. I think I talk about involved day to day with Amazon, or if he's too busy launching his self up and his fiance up into space. But I did not know that news until now. I do have a lot of friends who love the books and do love the show. Was there an announced general reason?
I didn't read the reason. No, I know that they have been like talking about numbers and touting numbers in relation to the Ring stuff, so it might be a part of that conversation. Like they had said that Ring season 1, I think, was like their best premiere ever, and then like season 2 was like in terms of total minutes the best thing on Prime, which like makes me feel really good because I know people.
For reason
they love to downplay, like the nerd sphere, of course, with toxicity loves to be like, no one cares about Rings. That is not true. That show is a smash.
I can tell internally, as far as I know, there's some things that I've heard that it's supported there. And that's a bummer for any fans of Wheel of Time to finally get it. And Crafted Jedi in chat says Wheel of Time is a great show. Season 3 especially, genuinely crushed. It's not continuing. That's a bummer for fans. I mean, that, I know Star Wars fans and Acolyte, that comes to mind, but just like when you're in, man, and it reminds me that this business, as always, is not a sure thing. And I always tell the story.
No,
I mentioned it in a lot of other places. Like, let's not forget, like Game of Thrones still had to wait for renewal early on in that show. Season 1, season 2. Oh, we got it. They still kind of had that at play. It wasn't until season 4 that I feel, in my amateur opinion, that it was safe. So
multi-season renewals don't happen that much anymore. You can maybe, I guess, like theorize that Mandalorian had that, but even then we don't really know that.
Right.
And you look at Fallout made news, also an Amazon Prime show, also very expensive, that they made news by announcing season 2 is coming in December and it had a season 3 renewal. That even doesn't really happen that much. You would think they would wait for those. So it could be the combined price tag of Rings and Fallout and other things. They have Phoebe Waller-Bridge making Tomb Raider there. And it's like, it could just be the reality of the situation. It sucks.
Yeah.
I hate it. I'm sad for those fans because I know that that's not just like a nothing property. That's a big deal.
It's been a long time coming to get this book adapted. Books, all 19, 20 of them still going?
Something still going? Like that, and different, like a second author that had
Brandon
to finish
Sanderson,
them.
Which is something we might have to get used to from this point.
Well, let's move into that then. That's a perfect segue because we have a question here from Eric Monroe, which brings back one of my favorite little conspiracy things, which is my one question. Will the Winds of Winter be out before the decade is over? I still believe in Alden's one book theory. One book theory, for those of you that don't know, is my little conspiracy that Dream of Spring is not actually a thing anymore. I don't think he ever lied. I do think the intention was to do 2. But I think that the reason Winds is taking so long and it's such a whopper, because didn't he say like it's like already the longest page count and like it's like, so he has a number that he's thrown around at some point. But I think that Dream is going to be folded into Winds for 2 reasons. One, just time. But then 2, George is, for better or for worse, a very fandom forward man. He's a very aware man.
Yeah.
He's plugged in. He pays attention. He is not like George Lucas or other people where it's like George Lucas could not give less of an F what we want or what we think or anything like that. He was not really in conversation with us the way Martin is in conversation with Thrones fans. And I think that, or Ice and Fire fans rather. And I think that that's part of it where he knows the truth of his life is that Winds is going to come out whenever it does. He'll get a week of peace. People will speed read the damn thing.
Yeah.
And then he'll be getting Where's Dream?
Yeah.
And they will feel there will be no gratitude. There will be no celebration. There will be no thank yous. There will be no, wow, we're so amazed by this. There will be no good faith. Let me compare and contrast what you did versus what the show did. There'll be none of that. It will immediately, mark my words, it will immediately move into Where's Dream.
Look, you're saying a week, and that's hilarious. Jared's saying 48 hours. If that, I don't disagree with that either. I think it's going to be in the book reviews on the day it drops. It's going to be in Screen Rant articles. New Game of Thrones book is here. Ice of Fire book is here. But where's the 7th one? Yeah, it's going to hang over.
Yeah.
So that's why, as far as conspiracies go, Alden, we had Ian McElhenney saying, "Oh, George is just waiting for the show to end." Well, that was debunked by many at the time, and now we know it's not true.
Yep.
I do believe, in my heart, and I say I do believe, we don't know. I have not gone to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and tried to track George down at his favorite Mexican restaurant, but
though you could.
I do feel that there's been a lot of, let me try this now that the show is done and the reception and his kind of simmering rage against Benioff and Weiss that seems to pop up every now and then, or just anything that the show, any show that's produced based on his work in the Game of Thrones world. Talk to Ryan Condal. So I can follow that he's like making some changes and just trying other things. His right to do, by the way. But I'm with you. The reality is, he is 76 years of age. I don't know his health. He's young for a president, but that's my parents' age, and they're very healthy and spry and active. But that goes fast. That's got to be in the back of his head. It got to be in the back of his head. Is am I going to finish this? And can I do the 7th? Or who would write it? Like, I got to wonder if at some point, much like Carson retiring and then they name Leno, like at what point are we going to get this is the next writer on deck? And George is
said
working
he won't do that.
What's that?
Yeah, he said he won't do it.
He said he won't do that.
He said he won't let someone finish it if he's gone. Now
I missed that. When did he say that? George, what are you doing to us?
That had to have been a while ago. Someone find that for me. That was a while ago. One of you out there, be a producer for 5 minutes and find that quote. But yeah, it's a lot, and I think
George.
So like my one book truther stuff, like it really comes from real life reality. I think you'll get to the majority of that whopper of a book. You'll get like 7/8 of the way through, and then once however many pages that is, I get still up in the air, and then the last little chunk of it, I think it'll say epilogue, A Dream of Spring. And that will be sort of like things that like to wrap it up. That'll be the 80s, like, don't you
forget about me.
Yeah, and then like it'll be like everybody's last little
thing. For me, I say, Khaleesi, what will you do?
Yeah.
And
who will definitely be alive, right?
Yeah, yeah. I still, we're gonna have a lot of time for that. I still think that is his goddamn ending on the screen in a general sense, and I think he's going to change it.
Bran is for sure his.
But I think the other things too, in general, I think are theirs.
Because that was the thing. Like even Dan, Dave, and him all said that.
Yes, right? They got the notes.
Loose notes
over chips and salsa. Yeah. I've added the chips and salsa because in my head he only writes at a Mexican restaurant in Santa Fe, New Mexico. 898-4M, a.k.a. Brady says in a 2013 interview, I think he said, "quote over my dead body." I will look this up. George,
I'll say stuff like that.
Look, 2013, a little different. Now at 76 years of age, there's got to be, got to be some thought to that. Wow.
Yeesh.
That's like, that's like Emperor Palpatine shit. That's like Operation Cinder. That's like if the king is killed, the chess game's over. George, you can't take this with you.
Yeah. But with Palpatine, though, it's a little bit different because Palpatine will be like, over my dead body. And I do have a plan.
I have a plan for that, too. And I want to say,
Palpatine is like, the next writer of my series is me.
I want to make clear before we move on to maybe our final questions here, and we'll get on out of here today. This has been a lot of fun live. I want to say, and for those watching later in the clip outs, hello as well. I want to say, like, I'm not one of those fans that feels super entitled to anything, right? Like, if George said, I'm done writing, I'd accept that. That's his to do it. Barry Sanders retires from the NFL because he doesn't want a head injury. Got it. It's his right to do that. CM Punk leaves for 10 years. It's his right to do that. George has the right to do whatever he wants. But also, God, it's just, this is one of the biggest things of all time in pop culture. And the reality has got to be sinking in. Like, wouldn't you want someone to stick the landing? I don't know.
And it's also, it's not that, and again, all George conversations have the added context of the fact that it isn't that he's like tucked away writer's block doing nothing. Mm-hmm. The man works all the time. It's just that he doesn't work on this. Yep. Like, he's producing shows. He's got his other show on AMC. He's got his other book series. He has a game that he wrote all the lore for. He's got like, this man is prolific. Yeah. It's just this. If
anyone could do it, he could do it. But I just want him to do it. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, there you go.
With that, Will McLean, a little side note on that. What happens first, wins or House of the Dragon finishes? God, I hope it's wins.
I hope it's wins, but I mean, we can't guarantee that. That's what's insane, Alden. That's what's insane. This is a 2011 conversation. Yes.
Yeah, he used to say it'd be done before Thrones was over.
That was the hope. That was the plan. And conversations about the quality. I'm a fan of every season, as everyone knows, and you can yell at me and disagree with me, but like I love it all. But like that seemed like that was a no-brainer. 2011, Dance of Dragons comes out, right? Or 12?
It comes out, I think, right before the show starts.
Right, because I remember employees of mine reading it as I was starting to watch the show. Okay, that makes sense.
And then
14 years, Alden. 14 years.
And the end of that book is the end of season 5.
Yes. It's
5. Jon is still dead on the page.
And Stannis is still alive. So maybe I'm okay with this. Maybe I'm okay with this.
Manus.
All right.
Real quick to address Maddie's question too. Basically, an answer. Where to start? Literally, book 1.
Yeah,
Game of Thrones.
Book 1.
A Game of Thrones is the name of the first book, and then they use that for the show name.
And I love them. I love them. And I want to love those damn books, man. Love them. Love them. This is any frustration is George. I want to keep reading. Let's do it.
Yep. Final. Oh, thank you, Jared. Welcome back, boys. Thank you, Jared. Appreciate you. Thanks for bullying us. Bullying works. # bullying works. Anytime with Ken and Alden. And then Addie with the last question here. Addie says, and thank you for the super chat.
You, Addie.
Always encouraged, never necessary. I have named instruments in grad school, and now after Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon characters based on personalities, have you named anything after a character from these series?
And she's talking about scientific instruments as our resident professor of smart things. Have I? No, I don't think so. I've named, my first car was a Ford Fairmont. I called that a Millennium Fairmont because I was really popular in high school.
That's cool, though. That would have done numbers if you were in my age group.
Numbers.
We would have loved that.
Well, retroactively, I hope I'm cool. I'm trying to think in terms of game. No, man, no. I'm not. I feel I've missed out. I feel like I've got to do this.
I also don't, and it's not that I don't do that because I have. My dog's name is Mando. I name things after things. Like my Wi-Fi's, I've always had dumb nerdy names. My Wi-Fi connection in high school was Wayne Enterprises.
Okay, I'm glad you said that.
I've done stuff
before.
Like that. Okay, what do you got for me?
Because before I moved to where I am now. Actually, no, this is my old internet. When I had my own internet network, I called it The Wall.
Oh, there you go. That's something. That's
Is it as cool as the Millennium Fairmont? Good. No, but The Wall.
The Wall's good. I'm trying to think of something that I would do. Like, I don't name. The thing is that I think of naming things as like naming living.
Yeah, like your dog Mando.
So I don't often name inanimate objects. Right. like people name pirate ships and stuff. Although that it is fun. Yeah, I don't. The thing about Game of Thrones is that their mounts and outside of dragons don't really have names. So it's like, I guess, like, you know, if I had a red car, I would probably call it Caraxes.
Okay,
like that could
I
be
like
fun.
that.
Something like that, but I don't. So.
Okay. Addy adds, my reliable instrument was Arya. My annoying one was Joffrey, and now my pretty one that I always want to punch in the face is Sir Kristen Cole. That is absolutely right.
That all tracks.
All tracks.
That all definitely tracks.
8984 follows up, says, okay, my source paraphrases George interview. So actually what he said, quote, not while I'm alive, and I don't think my wife, if she survives, will allow that either. All right.
Interesting.
But again, older interview.
His wife, who is also his wife is the one keeping Tyrion alive, at least until the end.
Yeah.
Remember, that's her favorite character. And he said that he promised her he will make it to the final book. Not going to say he lives the whole way, but he's not going to kill Tyrion early.
There you go. And Addy adds the conspiracy. I think he's done and will come out after he's dead because he doesn't want to deal with everything.
I've heard that conspiracy too. I've heard it. Yep. That it's willed to be released. I think that my favorite release plan that I've invented in my mind is that it gets no press tour and no announcement, and that Winds of Winter just shows up in airports one day.
I would love that.
Airport
Alden, that's
paperback.
I would love that.
Viral drop. A viral drop where people just have to tell people like Winds of Winter is out.
Yep.
That would be the wildest
Taylor
thing ever.
Swift, Beyonce, someone just dropping an album at midnight.
Yes.
This is what I want.
Yes.
This is what I want.
Yes.
With suddenly, and you can't even tell a lot of the booksellers. Just all of a sudden, the booksellers get a knock on the door from UPS one day, and there's like 1,000 books in a box. They've got to do that.
Yeah. Don't tell the booksellers. Like, you would have to have it lock and key on Audible, or maybe even wait on that because that stuff leaks.
Yeah.
Like,
well, wait till your AI narrators read it and then get it done. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I love this. I love this plan. It's a great positive way to end. The book's coming out. It's going to come out when we least expect it, and it's going to be there. It's just going to show up. Poof. Love that.
Just entirely word of mouth. Yeah, that's what I really want. But outside of that, yeah, I will pledge to Addy to at some point name an inanimate object. Maybe, you know what I'll do? Maybe I'll name all of my glasses like they're swords. That's what I should do. I should have different glasses. That should be my thing.
You go.
That'll get me laid.
That's what it's all about, baby. That's what it's all about, baby.
That's the end game.
That's the end game.
That's Westeros for you.
Look, now that I'm a single man, I'm going to keep winking till Emilia Clarke sees me. All right, it worked for Seth MacFarlane.
She also responds to eyebrow raises.
I can't do that. I don't have coordinated eyebrows. I'm the worst.
I forgot about her and Seth. Seth, hit us up. Let us know what happened.
Oh boy.
Anyway.
Yeah. All right, everybody. This was a lot of fun. We're going to do this about once a month.
It was fun.
Do a live show, and then we're going to take these episodes, take the questions, clip them out. I want to really, truly thank our friend, Jared. We call him Jared the Tide Pilot, but also Jared is the bass player and one of the songwriters of the great Boston-based punk rock band Concept of a Plan. Please follow them. I'll try to remember to put a link down below in the clip outs. Jared has been needling me, but actually forcing me to talk Game of Thrones, and it worked. Alden already was. This is about Alden. This is about me. And we're back. A lot of fun, so we'll keep doing this. And more on the way here. That's my final word. But Alden, you get to have the final word.
The final word would be to follow us, not just personally over on Blue Sky, but also the show. We have that Blue Sky account there. That's at casterlytalk.bsky.social. If you're over on X, I think the account's there, but I'm sorry, we are not there. So you have to come over to Blue Sky. That's going to be our little Winterfell for going forward.
There it is. Love that. All right, we'll see you next time here on Casterly Talk. Bye.